My purpose here tonight is twofold. As a multi-hyphenate, I just want to blow your minds and let you know that I designed this installation backdrop. And I'm just going to spontaneously title it Avalanche as Seen Through My Fishnet Stocking Ski Helmet. So for that, you're welcome. Additionally, and possibly of equal import, I am beyond tickled, as in tee-hee-hee, to present the first ever Sundance Institute Trailblazer Award to Christopher Nolan. And confidentially, he needs his spirits lifted. He's a bit blue because a terrible tragedy has befallen him, and I don't mean to bring this up, Emma, I know it's very personal. He has become recognizable on the street, and he recoils as though from a hot flame from this new and most unwelcome reality. Who is this man? This enigmatic auteur? Perhaps only I can explain. We have become extremely close, as in we had dinner on location once. A trailblazer ventures where no one has gone before and is hard to follow. This delights him, the very possibility of not having to see anybody along the way in front of him at all, ever. His spirit animal is the timber wolf. 23 years ago, he and his brother Jonah won the Waldo Salt Screenwriting Award for Memento. In short, Sundance launched the Nolans. Here's a picture of them back then, prior to any formal press training, as captured on Roger Ebert's brand new Motorola Razr. I had a feeling that might work. Then came Insomnia, the Dark Knight trilogy, The Prestige, Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk, even Tenet, which I can also explain, having watched it backwards and forwards on two screens simultaneously. Somehow the trail he blazed was a reframe of the creative conversation regarding everything, psychological thrillers, superhero films, magic dreams, time and space, historic conflict, and most recently, the moral dilemma of the nuclear age, with nary a drop of creative compromise. Ahead of schedule, under budget, basically Hollywood backwards. There's a monastic and devotional energy on set. The closest comparison is it's like 100 people making a watch. I've never experienced anything like it. There are surprisingly few hard and fast rules, save his strong preference that bathroom breaks be limited to 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. sharp. Diuretics are his kryptonite. Fortunately, Emma Thomas, right here, let's hear for Emma. She energetically somehow both apologizes for and reinforces the necessity of every creative decision, and the level of respect they give and require is frankly astonishing. It is, however, a tad alarming to be informed that things are going so gloriously efficient today that you can finish the scene you're doing, reshoot the single lab accident close-up you thought you had in the bag, move location 2 days ahead of schedule, and launch into the next epic sequence you're not entirely prepared for, but because they lead from the front, you faithfully follow. And because she blocks for him, he is free to be as independent a voice as has ever existed in cinema, while telling stories that remind us of the interdependency of the human experience. Now, that last line was so searingly sophisticated, I'm just going to let it hang in the air for a sec while you process. God damn, that just came to me. During this wildly social season, in the wake of resounding global reaction to the Oppenheimer phenomenon, Chris and I shared a vulnerable moment of existential query. He placed his hand on my shoulder, got a little misty, and whispered, I'm beginning to wonder, is it possible? Death by schmoozing. Adulation, congratulations, celebration, being thanked and honored are as desirable to him as being tarred, feathered, and pilloried. Let's take a look at his work. On your feet, join me in a thunderous and extra schmoozy welcome to the first ever Trailblazer Award recipient, Christopher Nolan.
Just to clarify, the we and the us is not some weird British royal we. I'm talking about myself and Emma Thomas, who has produced all of my films and all of my children, two of whom I won't embarrass by pointing out they're sitting right there. But those films that you saw on the reel, those aren't my films. Those are her films. They are our films. And was I ever an independent filmmaker? And for reasons that I'll explain, I realize I've never been an independent filmmaker because I don't think you can be. I think painters are independent. I think poets can be independent. As filmmakers, we're so dependent on other people. We're so dependent on not just the people we make the films with, who help us with the craft, but then this world of distribution, this world of getting the film out to an audience. A lot of people know that Memento came to Sundance. A lot of people know that it was a hit and, you know, enabled so much more that came after it for us. But not a lot of people know that what really happened with that film is we finished it, and then somebody, not me, had the bright idea of screening for all of the independent distributors at the same time to try and sell the film, get a bidding war going or whatever, and they all passed. No one wanted the film. And so a lot of people, in the year or so that we were in terrible limbo, we never knew whether anyone would ever see this film. It was an appalling position to be in. But so many people became so important in that moment, although I say a moment, it was a long period of time. Which brings us to the role of festivals, because the reality is that was the only way we were ever going to find an audience for this film. The people who financed the film, Newmarket, who never asked me to change a frame of the film, they never lost faith. Probably something Aaron was slipping into their coffee every morning, I have no idea. But they decided to distribute the film themselves, and they hired the amazing Bob Burney to set up a distributor. And I met with Bob, and I did not find him to be amazing when I first met him, because I thought no one would ever see my film if we self-distributed it. But he calmly and clearly made the case for how he was going to go about doing this, and the massive importance for the North American market of if we could get the film into Sundance, bringing the film to Sundance, and what that would be and what that would do for us. Which brings us to Sundance, and it brings me to the question of, you know, what do filmmakers get from coming here? Why do we come here? What are we hoping to get? What do we come away with? And is it awards? Is it huge distribution deals that you read about in the newspaper and all this? Certainly wasn't for us. But so if not awards and if not huge distribution deals, what is it? Well, it's the audience, and it's the 2 weeks or so in which independent filmmaking doesn't just mean a business model. It means an aspiration for filmmakers. It means that as directors and writers and actors, you're treated as artists. You're given pride of authorship in what you've done. And it tells you, meeting that audience, feeling that audience, it tells you what you're supposed to be doing, what your place in things is, what your real purpose is, to connect with an audience. And if you can get your film here, they will fill the seats, and you will connect with an audience. They won't always see eye to eye with you or whatever, but you'll be experiencing that pride of ownership. And that little fire that you already had in you that could get you to the festival, that gets fanned, the flame grows bigger, but you have that fire inside of you, and so you understand that what you bring to the table and what you're expected to do is fight for what the film deserves, needs to be, what an audience might want to see that they haven't seen before, those kind of things. And so you carry that with you forever, and you never forget that experience that you had up in Park City, connecting with an audience. Which brings me back to this moment of Emma and I sitting on the phone on hold, waiting for the head of Comcast to get on the line and thinking about, you know, okay, we've just sold his studio a 3-hour film about quantum physics, an apocalypse. It's R-rated. It's like, I don't know, maybe somebody finally figured out what we'd done or whatever. And Brian Roberts, who's the head of Comcast, he got on the phone and we exchanged pleasantries, as you do. And then he said something that was completely shocking and in retrospect totally logical to me, which was he said that he and his father in 2001 had been skiing in Deer Valley and on a whim had decided to go to the Sundance Festival and see a film by an unknown director and came to our screening that we presented the film at. And in that moment, I could hear Emma's relief on the other end of the phone, my relief. A couple of things occurred to us. One, we're probably going to be okay. This is going to work out. Because he liked the film, just for as did his dad. But also, I mean, it's a quarter of a century later, and I'm still being fucking discovered by Sundance. All of that is by way of saying that the experience you have here as a filmmaker is unique in all the world, and you carry it with you through your whole career. And I could not be more grateful for the experience that I had here 23 years ago, and for getting this award tonight. It means the world to me. So thank you very much.